So hi, welcome to the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with.
I'm Jad.
I'm James, and we're Keep in Touch.
We're gonna ask them some questions today. I'm gonna start. So, what inspired you guys to start the band, and what does the band name mean?
Cool. So we've known each other for a long time. We've been best friends since grade 4. So like when we were around like 9 years old. And in middle school, we started playing music together. I started playing guitar, and I've always wanted to play guitar like ever since I was a toddler, pretty much. I don't know. No one in my family plays music, but for some reason, I was just always obsessed with music. If there's a piano in the room, I'd always just go sit and buy it. If there's a guitar, I'd always just like obsessed by it. For some reason, guitar just like was my favorite. So I started playing that. Started pushing
That
James
hit
to like,
me up. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, you should learn how to play bass. And he like very shortly after got a bass.
Yep.
And
It wasn't something that came very naturally for me at first, and it wasn't even something that I was incredibly passionate about. It was sort of like, oh, this is fun. I get to hang out with my best friend. But then over time, it took over my life, and it was just like, oh, this is the best way I can express myself artistically and in general.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow.
so it was nice. And then so we started playing like in high school, doing talent shows and stuff like that. And we actually went to the same like elementary school, high school, and university together. So like once we started going to university, we met a few other people and started playing in like different bands around just locally around our province, in a few like different cities. We played in a few different bands before. We never sang before this. We just played like instruments and wrote music.
Mm-hmm.
And after like having a few bands just fall through from like just like people's schedules not aligning, people not having the same ambition and whatnot, we've at the end of 2019 we kind of like looked at each other and said, why don't we just try to do this ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
So we started taking vocal lessons end of 2019. We've been writing songs for a while before, so that we kind of like had a few songs kind of ready, but we didn't really know how to sing. So we started like taking lessons. And finally, when we thought we were at a point, like it was early 2020, we started recording some of the songs with our producer, Sangjan. He's known us for a long time. He's helped record our old bands before, and he kind of helped us like take this whole idea from the ground up and like kind of build a sound. And he's like a really good singer as well. So he helped push us vocally and like make sure we knew what we were doing. And then once he started to be like a little confident with it and thinking like we had something good, I kind of like started feeling a little better about it. And we recorded a bunch of songs early 2020. We were recording like pretty much a song. We had like a
Every
song
single
being
week.
done every single week, every single
Wow.
2 weeks. Like we were just cranking them out those first like 8 weeks of
God.
the year. And then the pandemic hit and we had to stop everything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when we were like deciding when we should launch this. Do we wait till the pandemic's over? I mean, if we would have, we still would have not launched at this point. So around August, we said like, we had those 8 songs, and like, even though they weren't necessarily the songs we wanted to put out first, because we were just kind of recording in no particular order,
Mhm.
we looked at them and we're like, I think there's enough variety here that we could just like launch with these songs and see kind of how they do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's when we decided. And as for the band name, we kind of came up with it around that time as well. And there's a few different reasons behind it, but the main thing is just like kind of relating back to what I was saying, how we've known each other for years and years now,
Mhm.
and music has been like a big thing in keeping us in touch all those years. So that kind of comes from that, because we've had other friends that, we still talk to them, but we don't see them as much. Like the main reason I've seen James all these years, other than, absolutely loving him. No, I'm joking. I hate this guy. I can't stand him. But yeah, other than like, just being friends, like I feel like music kind of kept us in each other's lives and helped us keep in touch. And from there,
Us too. It's we've noticed, I think, just being in the scene, we've seen how some bands interacted with their fans, and it was there was a lot of distance, and that wasn't really the approach we wanted to take. We wanted to be more engaged and to show our gratitude to the people who would be, willing to give us a shot and willing to listen to us. So keep in touch is very much like keeping in touch with each other, but also keeping in touch with the people who listen to our music.
Mhm.
yeah. And just like And also encouraging other people to keep in touch with each other as well,
Mhm.
because like one thing I definitely started noticing the older you get and become an adult is like finding good friends is hard. Like especially the older you get, because when you're in school, like there's a bunch of people there and you're all there every day. So like you'll make friends with a certain person one week and then like a month later you're friends with someone else and like friend groups kind of like switch around. It's very rare to find like someone you stay with for a long time. And like that kind of made me realize like what I had with James and actually a lot of my friends, like a lot of my friendships do stem from childhood. I didn't really make a lot of friends later in life,
Mhm.
but I've seen other people in my life who have had a lot of trouble making friends later in life because like either going like it's just hard when you're an adult to make new friends and like the older you get it's just difficult. So I think part of it is like that friendship and connection gets overlooked in a lot of aspects in our like everyday world. Like sometimes people think people are their friends but they're really just acquaintances, and like if it came to it, like do those people really really care about you? A
Yeah.
lot of times the answer is no. So I think like that caring about people is like a very like I don't want to say underrated because it's like I think people understand how good it is, but it's kind of overlooked sometimes. So we kind of just want to push that message of actually being there for each other and caring for other people is like pretty much what society needs. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
the whole spiel about the name. But yeah,
All right.
Wow. Okay. That's cool.
We haven't
That's
had
really
someone
nice.
go that in depth for that question in like a hot minute.
Yeah, it was refreshing.
I like talking about it. So I also drank a bunch of coffee before this.
Oh.
podcast, so I'm like-
You're
That
all-
explains
you're
some
all
of it.
ready.
I'm like going. Yeah, I'm good to go.
Solid. So, congratulations on your newest release, Doubt Myself. How do you felt the response to it so far? It's a banger. My God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been great. I mean, this was Jad, this was the first song we technically recorded, right?
Yeah, that
Oh.
was like the very first one we started on. So it's
Yeah,
nice
and
to put it out.
Mhm.
yeah, and it's I think for me, especially with this song, it was a very personal song to write about. So I'm glad that there has been a good reception, that we've been able to get on a few playlists and things like that. It feels, I think, for as most artists feel very uneasy about their art. So it's
Mhm.
nice to have like these brief moments of validation, like, okay, maybe I don't suck as much as I keep telling myself after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my God.
Every time.
Yeah.
So I want each of you to pick your favorite lyric and tell us the meaning behind it.
Ooh. For this song
Ooh.
in specific, or just
Mhm.
Yes.
The song,
Mhm.
yeah.
let me pull up the lyrics. I need to look at them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those things where like you write something and you record. Like I said, we recorded this like early 2020. So
Yeah.
there's
And you
like-
haven't gotten a chance to perform it live.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. Yeah,
Okay.
like we jam it sometimes just for fun, but we haven't really done anything like performance wise. All right.
Ouch.
So let me.
I think for me, it's my favorite lyric from it is your vision cut from every magazine.
Mhm.
Where I don't know, I'm very big on visuals, and when I hear that in other people's lyrics, it always like it gets my attention right away. And so it was one of those moments where I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool line. I like that.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, I think for me it's definitely the whole pre-chorus. Like it includes that line, like the vision cut
Yeah.
from every magazine. But I think it's more so like the uncertainty of like sometimes like you think you know somebody and you've been with them for a long time, and it's crazy how like one event could just change your entire relationship with that person, and it kind of makes you question like was I clueless all along? Like was this person always this way and I just didn't see it, or
Yeah.
or did something happen that caused them to like turn into this new person? So I think like the whole pre-chorus slash bridge, I think like that sentiment is just like what I think about often of just like whether or not like just people's intentions in general, and like were you always like evil, or did something happen that caused you to
Yeah.
be evil? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Those
Yeah.
were sick. So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for this song?
So I I started writing this song a while back, and at the time I was going through a rough patch with my girlfriend at the time, and I started writing the song as kind of like I think there's hope here. I think we're
Mhm.
gonna get through this. So like a lot of the lyrics before were very much like, things are bad now, but we'll pull ourselves together and we'll get through this. And then we broke up. So that, didn't pan out the way I thought. So
Yeah.
I scrapped about like half of the song. I took the more moody parts of it, and started changing what the song was about to be about that uncertainty of not really knowing where you stand with the other person.
Mhm.
I showed it to Jad. He made it good. And then we recorded it with our incredible producer SJ after that. And that was it. That was about. Missing anything, Jad?
No, I think that's mostly it. A lot of the songs that we have out right now, I think the way we were working on them is it's usually like one of us brought a song that was almost completely done, and then we kind of like edited it together and went from there. So a lot of those songs that are already out kind of like either stem from one of us, and then like the two of us completed it, or one of us just completely did the whole thing. But yeah, so it's been a little different though with the newer songs we've been working on. It's been a more like of a we start them together as opposed to starting them separate, and I'm kind of liking that process a bit more than
Okay.
previously. And I think the songs are almost like I like the newer songs a bit better because like every line we went through together and every decision was made like very very actively, whereas like before, if he showed me like a song and the verses were like I was fine with them, I didn't really I wasn't too nitpicky about it. I was just like, yeah, that sounds fine, like let's just go with it. Whereas like now we're definitely a lot more like strict with every single line that we we put into a song. Yeah.
And I think it's a lot easier to be like critical and to strive to have a better song when you are in the same room together writing it. Because I feel sometimes it's, if someone writes something separately and brings it in, you're not sure what the significance is of it always, or how closely they're attached to those lyrics. And even for that person, if you're sitting on lyrics for a few weeks and then all of a sudden someone wants to change them right away, it can be a bit disheartening. So having us be like all in 100% right from the get-go, I feel has made us better songwriters, and it's made us care more about writing as good a song as we can.
Definitely.
Okay. You stole my follow-up question. I was going to ask.
I was going to ask the same thing.
And I was going to beat glory to it because I always do. So, can you tell me a little bit about your headspace for this song?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just like the theme of doubt seems to be kind of constant with all these couple songs that like we've released so far. I think part of it is like the relationship aspect of like that James was mentioning, was like not being sure what the other person's intentions were and whatnot. But also I think part of it is just us doubting ourselves about this whole thing. Like we never sang before, we never really, like we played music and we were in bands, but it was never like our face at the front of everything. We were just like we just played the instruments kind of thing. So I think a lot of that is like, I don't know if it was intentional, but I feel like those themes of like doubting and being unsure kind of just like seeped into the songs without us even really really realizing it was happening. So I think that's definitely like
it's one of those things like in hindsight it's like, wow, we probably should have gone to therapy for a lot of this, but at least we have these songs out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's definitely like I think that's the headspace we're in for a lot of these songs. It's just like being a little uncertain but kind of going for it anyway.
Yeah, leap of faith.
Exactly.
So while listening through the song, what band or artist influences pop out the most to you?
Ooh. Do you have something?
I'm trying to think. For it depends, because there are definitely some songs we've written where there was like a very one of us had heard like a song and it's like, oh, I want to write like a fast song like that, or I really like that chord progression or something like that. Let's take that and make something our own. I don't know if Doubt Myself really had much of a like some other song and I was like, oh, that's the inspiration for this song, or that's what we're gonna do. I think especially for a lot of these songs that we've put out so far, a a lot of it is just us having fun and experimenting and just seeing how far we can push things musically. So I don't know if there's like an overarching like influence on all of the songs either, because a lot of them are quite different from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think songwriting wise, like that is usually like it's true for this song, but I know like production wise, when I was thinking of ideas, there's definitely a few artists I was thinking of. So like the verses of that song has kind of an acoustic guitar to it with some electronic drums, and for that I was like kind of had like the Backstreet Boys, like late 90s pop in mind for that kind of sound. So that was like definitely for sure an inspiration. But I was listening to a lot of Alec Benjamin too, and I like how he uses acoustic guitar with like electronic elements. So like production wise, that was definitely like where my headspace was at for that part. The pre-chorus is kind of like references Starboy by The Weeknd. I don't know,
Banger.
like you could hear the drums. Yeah, so the drums are like kind of based on like the we changed it up a little bit, but that's kind of the vibe like I really wanted in mind. And then the chorus is definitely a little more vocally and stuff. I feel like it's kind of Ed Sheeran / Loud inspired. It's kind of like this more chill like singer-songwriter, but the beat of it is I feel like it's a little more like EDM inspired, kind of like Chainsmoker-ish, kind of like Fletcher as well. A lot of her songs kind of have a guitar like that with like electronic stuff. So that's like production wise kind of where like those are the people I was referencing and thinking about when I was telling our producer like what I had in mind, and then he took it and made it his own from there. But songwriting wise, I don't think there was really a specific influence behind it.
Oh my god, those were a lot of like really good influences, and it made a very good song. It wasn't like clunky or like this is a little weird, but it like flowed together really well.
I'm glad to hear that. A lot of our songs, like there's always a reason behind the stuff we put in there, and I don't always like people don't often ask about it, first of all, but also we don't really tell that many people about it, so it's nice to like actually talk about it. But yeah, I think a lot of times people assume like, oh, it's just like a random beat you made, but there's actually a lot more thought that goes into it beyond that. I mean, at least on our part. I know sometimes people just download like a sick beat online and they flow on it and their voice is amazing and they sound incredible and it's great. But for us, like it's something production wise, songwriting wise, I like obsess over it personally. Like I know James does as well, and we think about it a lot, and there's a lot of thought behind it.
Definitely.
So I'm actually glad you brought up like experimental, because I wanted to ask about the song that's on your Spotify called "This Is Not a Song" and the idea behind that.
Yeah, there's a
Is there any sort of story?
I think it was two parts. One is there's kind of like a funny thing, but also a marketing thing. So for Spotify, you can't submit your first song for playlisting or things like that. And so like we wanted to start off with a strong song because we figured, if we start off with something that's like, middle of the road, that's not going to grab people's attention. So we thought like, hey, what if we just like release like a dumb like 30-second interaction?
Just like a snippet. We weren't really sure what it was going to be. Like at first we were thinking of a few different ideas, and it was mostly for that, like to be able to pitch whatever our first actual single was, and also to be able to have like our artist profile up so we could like organize it and make it look pretty, so that by the time we launched our first single, people actually could go and there's like a bio there and there's a picture and like everything's ready and good to go kind of thing. But we weren't really sure like what we were gonna do for that first track, and then one day we just like, this was like still like pretty early in the pandemic. I just drove over to James's house and we sat outside with like microphones in front of his house and we just like talked I hadn't seen him at that point for like 2-3 months, I think. And then we just kind of talked for an hour-ish, and that was a part of the snippet of like what we were saying at one point, and kind of ran with it. I found like it kind of showcases our like our friendship dynamic to a certain extent of, we're friends, but also just hate each other, absolutely despise one another.
It's like the best friend vibes,
Exactly. There's been times before, like I remember like we'd be taking the bus to go to like rehearsal to like our old band's rehearsal place spot, and we lived like kind of near each other, so a lot of the times we'd end up on the same train or bus, and like I'd be chilling there listening to like a podcast or music, and then I see him walk by And like usually if it's like a friend that you see walk by, you go like, hey, what's up? And you like get their
Yeah.
attention. Like I see him walk by and I'm like, oh no, like
No,
I'm not ready for this. I don't want to talk to this guy right now.
Oh my
I already have to
God.
spend like hours with him afterwards. So I need a little space.
Oh my God.
And I think it's something we both do. Like we just acknowledge we were there, but like at the same time, just pretend we don't see each other, so we don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's that kind of thing where like you've just been friends with someone for so long that your filter kind of goes away, and it's almost weird if I'm nice to him. It'd be like something must be wrong if I'm being super nice to him.
Yeah.
So-
There's no need to kiss his ass anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel like
Yeah.
that's when you get to that's how you get real opinions out of people. I feel like even when it comes to songwriting, if he pitches something I don't like, I'm not really gonna beat around the bush and say, oh, can you actually, I'm just gonna say no, I don't like that. That sucks.
Yeah.
So like, and yeah, I think it just helps streamline a lot of things when you've known somebody for that long.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay.
So back to the single we're talking about. Is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have while going through the track?
I think like cry dancing is like the best thing.
Yeah,
Cry
like-
dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
like
feeling all the
singing-
feels,
yeah.
but also going like, you know what, who cares? Fuck it.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Taking, singing along in the shower, kind of like jamming along, but then it hits you and you start crying. That's
Yeah.
the vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
But then hopefully like it's upbeat enough that you stop crying and start dancing again right after. We don't want to
Okay,
leave it
so
on
it's
like
like-
a sad note, It's
Yeah, like
like
an endless cycle of
Yeah,
crying and
exactly.
dancing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Tears will be shed.
Mhm. Guaranteed. So where do you guys see the band in the next 5 years? And you already mentioned you have like a bunch of songs just kind of in the vault right now. What's going on with those? Is that an album, an EP, or just like a collection of songs?
So what we were thinking of doing is sometime in the spring we kind of want to put out an EP slash just like collection of all the songs that we've already released, plus a
Mhm.
few new ones that haven't been released yet,
Mhm.
and just kind of wanted to make that as like just a place where you could find all our music, just because we've been dropping singles on a monthly basis and they're kind of all over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But for like after that, we actually like since the pandemic started, we haven't had the chance to go back and record a
Yeah.
lot. So I think we were able to do like 1 or 2 sessions in the summer when our city like opened up briefly, and then it went right back down to close like a few weeks
Yeah.
after. So we didn't record much. So we have a lot of songs written, but we don't have a lot of songs recorded. And so yeah, right now it's like the focus is that EP. We've been working on a few other things if James wants to talk about those. But after
Yes.
that, it's who knows where the world's going at this point.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for real. We also do have a music video that we've been working on that we should have out in the next few months, which I'm very excited about. We've been working with a really great friend of ours, Ziad, who's been kind of the creative, artistic mastermind behind our image and keeping us on track, keeping us focused.
He does all our artwork and everything. Yeah.
Incredible guy. He's helping direct, organize, get the music video off the ground, and been a super huge pleasure working with him. We've got the collection coming up, and we have a few songs recorded, and we're going to try and see what we can do about getting a few more. But
Mhm.
a lot of it is dependent on how safely we can do things.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like since the pandemic started, I actually like bought a lot of gear so that we could work like kind of have like a studio set up here. But
Mhm.
at the same time, like I love working with our producer. He's so like good at what he does that I don't feel comfortable like recording a final song here. Like we're down to do demos and like try a few different ideas and stuff
Mhm.
like that,
Mhm.
and like produce a few things here and there. But I prefer having him in the room just to get his input on stuff. And yeah, and working virtually, like Zoom is great and all, but it's just not the same as
It's
like
not.
Yeah.
like especially for songs, man. Like a lot of times when you're like writing a song, you'll be halfway through a line and somebody jumps in with another idea that's better, and like
Mhm.
over Zoom it just doesn't work like that. It's like the other person can't even hear you trying to interject to be
Yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah. And then you lag halfway through and it's
Yeah.
So what about a 5-year plan, huh?
Mhm.
Oh my god,
Right, 5-year
Dude.
plan.
that stresses me out to think about.
Rogers
Sorry.
Center. That's
Oh yeah, Rogers Center. That's the
Rogers
stadium in
Center.
our city. Yeah, right.
Oh.
Okay. uh, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, hopefully, I like just continue to write and release songs. Like, I definitely enjoy songwriting a lot. That's like one of my main just passions in life in general. It's
Mhm.
one of those things I feel like I would do like regardless of what else I'm doing in life. I just really enjoy songwriting and songs. So hopefully we could keep doing that. Hopefully we could keep releasing music to wonderful listeners who are willing to listen and
Yeah.
keep up with us. Everybody's been super nice and supportive lately. So like absolutely want to keep releasing music and hoping they all enjoy it, because before we were kind of making these songs and we weren't really thinking of like who's listening, but now it's like, oh, people are listening, and I feel like they're just as much as part of this as we are. So we kind of have to, we need to step up our game to make sure our songs are just always like worthy enough of those people's attention and time, and definitely don't want to phone anything in and put anything out because they just deserve better than that. So yeah, I think just focusing on songwriting a lot and hopefully like playing shows if that's ever a thing. Touring would be nice. Like we haven't performed as Keep in Touch before. We haven't sang live before. Like I used to do like backup vocals in our old bands, but like we haven't actually been the person on stage singing. So doing some of that would be nice and just be a cool experience. I don't know if there's anything else James wants to do within the next 5 years, but for me it's just like make music, play shows, and
be a band again.
Collaborate with as many people as we can.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
I miss the old days.
Me too.
Oh yeah, me too.
So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Boom again.
Oh my god.
Boom.
Dude, I'm the most indecisive person in the world. Like I hate when it's so hard making choices. James, you go first. I'll think about this.
I would get a Weber's hamburger, fries, and vanilla Coke.
So true on that vanilla Coke.
Oh, I know, right? I feel there's a lot of hate towards it, but love it. And Weber's, there's a Weber's up north when you're going on the highway up to Huntsville. That is like the best burger I've ever eaten in my life. And it just reminds me of childhood. It's just childhood between two buns. So that's my ideal last meal. But hopefully I don't do anything bad enough to get there. So
yeah, I would hope not.
Yeah. Oh man, what would I pick? See, I'm wondering if I should like make a statement with my last meal or just make something that I actually just would enjoy eating. You know what I mean?
That's kind single of pea.
Yeah, like you know what I mean? A slice of bread. No. But
oh my God.
If I had to pick something, oh my God. Honestly, I'd probably say like just like the best shawarma they could find. I really like shawarma. Like that's being like Middle Eastern. I like that's like the fast food you get like as a kid and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very picky about that. So it'd have to be like really, really good. I'd have to like watch the chef and instruct them on how to do it or something. But
yeah.
Or just get like the best one I've ever had. Like I got to track it down. But yeah, I'd probably say with that. And for a drink, I'm not really a drink person. Like when I go to restaurants, I just get water. I'm like that person. But
that's fair. Yeah.
I guess like a strawberry milkshake. I'll take that. That's
All
right. I respect that. All right.
Yeah.
So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Honestly, this is gonna sound stupid, but like just back to the strawberry milkshake thing. I don't know if you watched Teletubbies.
I did.
Teletubbies, they drink that like strawberry milkshake, whatever that is, that goo. And I always wanted to know what that tastes like because I just assumed it was like the best strawberry milkshake ever. So I'll say Teletubbies just so I can try their snacks. Yeah, or the pancakes.
Oh my God, yeah, with like the face on it. Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
That's a good answer. That's a good. You know what I would do? You remember Spy Kids 3?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like sadly.
Yes. Like.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Sorry.
I mean, it was a terrible movie, but it's also
that. No, absolutely.
It's a classic.
Not aged.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic.
But,
it's a classic.
But like just that world that they lived in. like
Mhm.
the digital world. I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about the digital. Oh, yeah. That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. All right.
All right. So I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person who's spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Mine is black. I know it's not a color, but
We'll let
almost
it
all my
slide.
clothes are black. Yeah.
That's
If I had
fine.
to pick like a color, I like purple, like just purple stage lights and stuff. I think are really cool. So I like that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. But in terms of like color, like if could pick a non-color, I'd say black.
Okay. It's all good choice.
Mhm.
Anything pastels, like pastel
So true.
pink, yellow, blues.
I agree. Pastel
Alright.
is amazing.
Brings me so much joy and peace.
Yeah.
So as I said, that is all the questions you have today. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug?
Honestly,
Uh,
just
Go follow us on social media
yeah.
at Keep in Touch XO. Stream our latest song. Keep
We've
up
been
to date. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been releasing songs monthly since August, so we definitely have a few songs up there. If you have a minute of to spare, please just give us a listen. That's all really we could ask for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And reach out and talk to us. We love talking
Yeah,
to new
definitely
people.
feel free to always hit us up. We like reply to everybody and always make sure everybody knows that they're heard and that we're listening to what they say. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright.
that's great. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for now. This guy's been Keep in Touch, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.